Hi there, this is Benz from Havoc Models. Today we are going to be doing our first lesson and it's going to be on backgrounds. The way we're going to begin this is by doing a plain background. So I just want to start off by saying that every artist sets up their picture differently. For me personally, I like to pick a color background to edit on. That way I get an idea of what color tones I'm going to be using and what looks best with my avatar. So what I do is I go into the background color and I slide the cursor back and forth. That way I kind of see what looks good with what I'm wearing, with what color my hair is, my accessories. So I just slide it back and forth and I decide what color I like best. And for this one, I found that pink and blue both looked really nice. I decided to go with blue because the jeans are blue, my eyes are blue, and the accessories are gold. So gold and blue, so yellow and blue, go well together. And that's what I chose to do for this picture. So the next step is I generally pick a light source and my dark source, and I set it up in the background. So as you can see, I shaded the bottom right corner with dark and the top left corner with the white. So when I'm shading my avatar, I know where those sources are coming from. You can also choose to do a few things to the background if you're going to keep it plain. Sometimes I add a grainy texture, sometimes I blur it, sometimes I add like a liquefied look to it if you're going to keep it that way. If you're going to set your picture up with something different later on, I wouldn't bother doing that. So the next step in my editing process is to find a picture that has blue tones in it because that's the color we decided looked good with my avatar. I figured why not a jean store? I am wearing jeans, it kind of makes sense. So I threw in that jean background. For me personally, right, every artist is different. I would say that over and over again. I don't like to put real pictures in the back and leave them crisp. I usually Gaussian blur or add some sort of texture to it. The only time I leave the picture plain in the background is if it's an SL picture or an IMVU picture because it kind of goes with my avatar. If it's a real picture, I find that it doesn't, but that's just me. So for this, I threw in the jean store and I also created a light and dark source. I added a layer on top of the picture. I changed the setting to add, and then I took white, or you can take a light blue or you can take gold, right? Because we did say yellow looks good with the accessories, and you can throw the gold or the white in the corners there and create your light sources. The light sources are going to show you where to give your avatar highlights, so in your hair, in your face, in your skin, in your jeans, and that's why I typically do that in the beginning. So there's a few things that you can do if your background looks a little plain. You can add things to tie in your concept and bring it all together. So for an example, I took this sailing picture. It's got the blue tones and it matches what my avatar is wearing. And I threw that back there and I'm gonna blur it. After I blurred that, there's a lot of things you can add that are gonna tie this photo together. When I think of sailing, I think of birds, for example. So I went on to Google. There's a lot of free resources where you can get backgroundless pictures. Because this is a beginner tutorial, I just went to Google and I typed in birds transparent background or birds no background. I threw that picture into the back underneath my avatar layer and I blurred it. The reason I blurred it is because they're in the background, they're in the back, and it gives that illusion. You can throw the birds on top and leave them crisp. You can do so many things. I suggest experimenting. That's the best way to figure out what you like. Not only can you do that, but you can also find objects to place on your Avi. For example, my hand is up there by my face. I could easily look up a picture like a pair of sunglasses or a hat and throw that in my hand. It would tie everything in together perfectly. There's so many things you can do that way. So we're just going to take a quick look at color overlays. This can change the complete concept of your picture, and it's a huge trend right now. You see a lot of fluorescent pictures, you see a lot of color tones, and this is how you're going to get that look. So what you're going to do is you're going to create a layer on top of your picture, and you're going to change the settings of that layer. You're going to change the settings from normal to color. You're going to take a paintbrush and color over that picture with whatever tone you want. Like I said in the beginning, pink and blue both look good with my avatar and what I was wearing, so I'm going to use pink as an example for this. I color in the pink, and I know it looks a little harsh at first, but all you have to do is go back into those settings, and you're going to shift around that opacity bar and get an idea of how harsh you want that color to be. I didn't want it to be too dark, so I just brought it down a little bit. So another thing you can do is you can actually take that color layer and you can drag it from under your Abby to on top, and it'll just change the color tone completely of everything in that photo. It's really in style right now. You see a lot of the neons, you see a lot of the color pops, and that's exactly how you're gonna get that look. So the last thing we're going to be going over for this lesson is hand painting. Now sometimes your plain background doesn't look good, sometimes you don't like the picture you picked, or your IMVU or SL picture doesn't look good. That's fine, you can just hand paint your own background. I mean, it's a great way to experiment and learn your own brushes. So for this, I just paint the background blue and then I create layers on top of layers. I experiment with my brushes, splatter brushes, glitter brushes, airbrushing. There's so many different ones you can use. Not only do you get a sense of those brushes, but you might discover stuff that looks good on top of your avatar for shading and for highlighting. So I suggest doing that because you can always just delete the background and keep going and doing it over and over again until you find something that you like.
Just wait, chemistry is out of chain. It's perfect now, will it change? It's only yes, it's ain't a no. Just do your thing, we'll see how it goes. If at first you don't succeed, this is how far from try again. You can list it off and try again, try again. If at first you don't succeed, you can list it off and try again. This is how far from try again, try again.
We just want to take a quick second to say thank you for watching our video today, and we hope that it helps in some small way. And we also want to say thank you for all the love and support that we receive here at Havoc.